Meghan Markle wows in a red gown at a New York City gala. Nothing honors veterans quite like caring about Meghan freaking Markle. Who cares? Who cares?
Do you care that Wendy Bell Radio is live?
Yes, of course I
but
care.
See, who cares what color someone's undershirt is?
Black and blue are awful, okay? You are a walking bruise, okay?
Wow.
You'll never see, and I think fashion-wise...
Let's explain this backstory.
Fashion-wise, some could argue that the combination of pink and red doesn't go together. I've seen it work, though. Black and blue, never, ever. So why you choose black for your undershirt when you're wearing blue is mystifying to me. It's just one of those things when a nice, crisp, white shirt would just... It would make all the
backstory is the story, though. Wendy absolutely, on the golf course, says, I can't believe it. And surprisingly enough, she kept it to herself for 12 holes. I can't believe you wore a black shirt. Why would you do that? So this morning, so now I do it on purpose. I was wearing the shirt because I'm going golfing after work.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's right.
I specifically pulled out a black undershirt just so Wendy had something to complain about. Because I don't want her to have to work other than the show.
However, who had to bring it to my attention that you were wearing a black undershirt?
Really?
That would be you.
Really?
I wasn't paying attention to your fashion because there's not much to pay attention to.
Wow. Wow.
Aside from the sweatshirt Joe bought you, it's really nothing to talk about.
Wait a second. What about the stain on my one sweatshirt?
You do have a couple. Your Pirates pullover.
You know what that is?
It's probably paint.
No.
I don't know. I don't care.
It's
nuclear
caulking.
Fallout. It's caulking.
And it dripped.
Wow. And so.
And when I wiped it off, it didn't work well, so I put it in the wash.
At what point would caulk that you would wipe be a good idea?
Good morning, everyone.
I'm just asking.
It's a good thing we're live, because if I was to
Hi, guys.
choke something.
Happy Veterans Day, indeed. Nice to have you all along. Yes. I hope you guys stay for the whole show, because the 11:30 segment, I think, is very special. It's special to me, and it's special in my thoughts to those who put on the uniform for this country. And those of us, those who have been lucky enough to come home. Thank you for what you do.
Can I talk about merch real quick?
Yes.
Guys, we are sending it out as fast as we can. Like, Jason is helping the people just to get out as fast as you can. I know you guys want to know. I really don't have anything to do with shipping. So when you email me, I'll try to respond, but there's a lot of times I have no idea. And me emailing you back, I don't know, would frustrate me if I emailed someone. So this is my response. If I don't email you back, I don't know. But Jason, they're putting out.
They sent out 300 orders yesterday.
Yeah.
300. So stuff is in the mail, and he's specifically not here today because he didn't know what he was biting off when he had suggested that we should do merchandise.
Right. He did not know.
And since we don't carry inventory and everything that you guys order is made to specificity, to your order, specificity, I should say, it takes a little longer. So I'm sorry, but.
And we didn't have the merch. We didn't
had
have the merch to begin with.
We had supply chain stuff just like everybody else. So, and you know what? You've been very patient.
Yes.
And thank you for understanding. Beyond that, thank you for your support. So those of you who are on our Facebook page, remember the Wendy Bell Radio Network app. It's free for now. We love having you guys there. And the merchandise section is there. Soon, probably in the next week or two, we're going to be dropping those golf shirts and probably the beer glasses, which are really beautiful.
Here's the thing about the beer glasses. Something we've learned. We bought the beer glasses already to be made.
Mm-hmm. We bought $5,000 worth of them.
When you order them, right, give it a couple days to get it made and shipped out. We're making to order.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right. But it is a good problem on our end to have, and we are grateful because without you and your support and the support of our sponsors, we wouldn't be in this privileged position to be talking to you now about it.
It's like I said this morning, someone asked me, when's the last day you had off? And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, doesn't that bother you? And I'm like, I don't really consider what I do with work. I work with my friend who we talk about this stuff, even when we're not working on the weekends. So it's, I don't know. I just go somewhere.
And we get to talk to you guys every day.
Yeah.
And we get to take calls. And today we have congressional candidate Teddy Daniels coming on from the great state of Pennsylvania, the land before time. He's coming up in the 10 o'clock hour. So stay tuned. We got a packed show for you today. And don't forget, ask us anything at 11. Think about what you want to talk about because we'll open up the lines for you. Here we go.
Using facts to take on the woke politicians, triggered leftists, and the corporate media.
You just got to try harder not to suck.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, you're listening to the Wendy Bell radio program.
Hello, America. Happy Veterans Day. A special tribute to all of you men and women out there who've put on the uniform for the safety of the United States of America. Hello. Welcome, everybody. We're delighted to have you along on the Wendy Bell radio program. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. I hope you guys do stay for the whole 3-hour broadcast today. I know it is appointment listening and watching if you're tuning in on the Wendy Bell Radio Network app, joining the live stream. We've got a lot going on the program today. We've enjoyed sharing voices with you in the prior weeks on the broadcast. We don't often overload the daily show with interview segments, but I think there are voices who deserve to be heard. They are voices who we believe are uplifting. They are patriotic. They are dutiful. They make sense in really nonsense world. And today we're going to be really excited in an hour to have a congressional candidate here in Pennsylvania named Teddy Daniels, Army veteran, served in Afghanistan, Purple Heart, decided to, you know what? I'm tired of people not representing the values of people that I believe in, which would be Americans. It's time to get down and dirty and get involved. We're going to have him on. Love him. You're going to absolutely adore what he has to say. I'm also going to have a segment at the end of the show where we talk specifically about today. Not only is today Veterans Day, which you know how I feel about the men and women who serve this country and who have. Today celebrates those who are still living, but also honors those who have died before us. And it is an important conversation. This particular Veterans Day also is the centennial birthday anniversary, if you will, of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, Tomb of the Unknowns in Arlington National Cemetery. It's important, I think, that we talk about that. We're going to do that at the end of today's program because I have a personal story to share there that I think will probably resonate with you. You know, I was thinking about today's program, spent a lot of time yesterday looking at what was going on in the Kyle Rittenhouse case. You know, I'm going to do a little strange parallel here. You know that I am the mother of twins. My last two sons are twin boys who could not be more different in personality, in motivation, in skill in various things, in appearance. They are truly their own individuals, though connected in a very special way. And I find it interesting that when I see them together, almost always, there's a part of their body that's always touching. So if they're sitting on the couch, their arms are touching, or if they're somewhere in there, it's very cute to see the connection, even with fraternal twins. It is a great honor. It is a privilege to be the mother of twins because It really is a roller coaster of just growth and funny stories. So when my kids come in from outside, they're always together, and that's kind of fun. It's usually somebody's coming inside from playing out with their friends in our backyard. Kind of the same. In, with wow, I think this is yours, Brock. There we go. One of them will come inside with like a dark cloud over their head. They're going to be really upset about something. And they're going to tell me, so and so did something to me and it was wrong. And they're so upset. My immediate inclination is to be like, what? Your brother did what to you? But it's funny because that's never usually the whole story, right? There's usually a precursor to that that sets the table for something that is either a punch or a kick or a tackle or something. And you've got to get to the bottom of it before you can adjudicate the process. Yes? There's some fairness that has to go into this, some ferreting out of information, some interviewing. Yeah, we've got to go over, we've got to voir dire people, we've got to do this, we got to pay attention to the nuance of what's happening before the ruling can come down and somebody can either be exonerated or punished. This is every day in our house. You have to be able to do that if you're going to be fair to your children, particularly if you have twins. These things happen all the time. So I'm watching the Kyle Rittenhouse case yesterday, the trial, and I happened to tune in a very difficult time for me to watch, and it was when he absolutely loses it on the witness stand. I'm thinking in the gravity of the moment, here is an 18-year-old kid on trial in front of the world for double murder. He's been ridiculed. He's been judged. People have surmised things about him. They've run with wrong narratives. And here is this kid. Yes, by age a man, but come on. Sitting on the stage and the gravity of the situation, whatever his emotion is inside, bubbles out of him. And he literally is gasping for air on the stand. It was heartbreaking to watch. To wake up this morning and to see someone, as in LeBron James, ridiculing Kyle Rittenhouse for his moment of tears and gasping for breath in the spotlight, in the crosshairs of this judgmental society we're in, where everybody believes that they have an ability to judge, to be judge, jury, executioner of an individual and their fate without ever paying attention to all the nuance of what happened, never being able to go back in time and hyperspace into that person's position to feel what they would have felt in that moment. Regardless of all of that, chuck all of that away, take fairness and throw it into a ditch. Everybody believes it's incumbent upon them and their right to judge the actions of someone else. You know that cry. It is the cry where you can't catch your breath, where you literally have no control of your body. You have felt anguish and pain and devastation in your life that has dropped you to your knees and has choked the air out of you. So you gasp and can't catch your breath. That was Kyle Rittenhouse on the stand yesterday. To stand back and to watch the Monday morning quarterbacking as people are playing with the life of a young man, knowingly not paying attention to all the facts, knowingly disregarding testimony to present a narrative to their viewers that represent the new religion. of the left. I talk about it as the Holy Trinity. It's not Father, Son, Holy Spirit. It is Trump, racism, January 6th. Anything that falls into that category is the new religion. This is where the pitchforks come out. And so now I wonder, even though the prosecution in the Kyle Rittenhouse case has woefully failed in its execution of duty, as we can see them inching toward hoping for a mistrial, so they get the chance to kind of reboot because they blew it, there is a singular human being who hangs in the balance. Is it prosecution or is it persecution anymore in this country, ladies and gentlemen? Because everything seems so political. Should you not be given a fair opportunity and fair judgment in the court of public opinion, regardless of how you vote? Or is life so dark and so dirty now that you don't get the same justice that others should get? And this is where we are. It took me a little while to realize when Bobby and Chris came in from outside and one was bloody and crying and the other was like, I didn't do anything. How to get down to the bottom of the answers, yes? How to ask the right questions, how to calm everybody down, how to separate the two, interrogate them in their own way, peel back the layers of their emotions and personalities to figure out what really happened before being able to jump in and create a solution and some sort of punishment if one was needed. We don't do that anymore in this country. You have a phone, you can make a decision like that. The reality is, Kyle Rittenhouse and the people of Kenosha, Wisconsin should never have been put in a position to feel like they had to defend their property, their business, their homes, themselves from an angry, out of control mob. But the left and the media allowed that to happen. Defunding the police, emasculating the police, demoralizing the police, blaming the police. That is what you get. We should never be here. And unless something quick happens and this course is reversed, I dare say the persecution of individuals will continue. Advanced Integrative Medical 360 offers their services, which truly are life-changing, in 47 states. So you might think, wait a minute, I don't live in Pennsylvania. I can't sit down with Dr. Dubiak. What am I going to get out of a telemedicine call? You're going to get everything. You get the same prescription for blood work. You'll sit through your computer or your phone talking to Dr. Dubiak or one of his medical team. You're going to have the most extensive dive into your blood work, your hormones, your biomarkers that has ever been done before. And you're going to get answers about why you've been feeling the way you do. Beyond that, you're going to get a course of action that helps you right that sinking ship, lose the weight, find out what ails you, fight it back, gain your life back, and be happy. You can do this at Advanced Integrative Medical 360 by picking up the phone right now and making your no-cost free consultation. 412-227-9255 is the number. IntegrativeMedical360.com. Call, make your appointment today. You are worth it. All right, when we come back, some of the smoke screens, okay? The smoke screen, the lost in the weeds, the nuance that just doesn't matter, that gets triggered when a case is crumbling apart. The sound you need to hear. Coming up next on the Wendy Bell Radio program. Yeah, that totally startled me. I was like, what?
You know, I turned
I know. I don't know what that was, but I was like, oh, snap. That had to be me.
Can you hit it again?
Yeah.
Now do it again. Okay, now we're good.
That's what it was, though.
No. When you flipped it the first time, it didn't look like it's supposed to. Like the ringer's supposed to go red. It didn't. Maybe something wrong with my phone. My phone's almost 2 years old. You know what that means.
I know. They're only meant for 2 years.
Yeah, that totally threw me off.
I like forgot what I was saying. And I'm like, the any distraction, unless you're like on like the landing path, it's hard in a monologue to not get shaken by that. And I was like, ah.
And the best part was when I said right before the show I got an alert.
Yeah, you're like,
it went
oh,
off. I'm
geez,
like,
thank goodness.
Good thing it did that.
Wah, wah.
You know, the sad thing is the same thing happened to my phone yesterday, where yesterday morning before I talked to you, it wouldn't let me touch it. It wouldn't.
Joe's having the same issues, and his phone is a couple years old.
So
and he's trying to buck it, but I'm like, you got to get it.
I tried to reboot it.
Right.
But then it wouldn't let me slide across to actually reboot it.
Okay.
So then I had to Google it and say, how do I do this? And it's like, turn the volume button up, turn the volume button down.
What it should just say is go get a new phone,
right,
because they're only meant to last for 2 years. And then there's like some chip in there.
Everything you can't get a phone, though.
Everything starts to go haywire.
I got Kate and her mom iPads for Christmas.
Do they know this?
Yeah, they were there.
Oh.
I wasn't picking them out and getting the wrong thing. And so we went the last time because we were due for an upgrade on the phones anyways, right? Or not the phones, but different things on the plan. And they're like, okay, well, they'll be here in December. We did it in the beginning of October.
Oh, snap. I'm going to have to. Okay.
Oh, you're host.
Shh. No.
I'm just saying.
No.
For Joe to get a new phone, he's host.
Stop. That's bad. Now I have a weekend chore to do. All right. All right.
Brenda says, my phone is 7 years old and still works fine for me. Wait till you can't get any more updates, Brenda. And they cut you out to where you have to get
the best phone I ever had was this stupid flip phone. Best phone I ever had. Plus, I liked going click. Made me feel like I was Leroy Jethro Gibbs on NCIS. Click. Anybody who watches that knows what I'm talking about.
Wow, here we go.
So what have we heard in the media about Kyle Rittenhouse? He's some deranged, racist, Trump-loving, AR-15 wielding, breaking the law, going across state lines with a gun. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. What's the real story? Do you guys know the real story? I do. According to the media, if we believe what they say, according to reports, Kyle Rittenhouse used one of his COVID checks. He used a $1,200 COVID check to buy an AR in Wisconsin. He has a father who happens to live in Kenosha. And when we talk about him driving across state lines, you have the image in your mind, at least I did, that he's like hundreds of miles away. This is a guy who premeditated. He's like, dang it, I'm getting armed and I'm going to go and I'm going to kick some butt. That's not even close to what his motivation was. His family living in that community. He saw what was going on in the case wasn't this after Jacob Blake? I believe this was after him. Okay. He's going to ostensibly help clean some of the graffiti sprayed by BLM and Antifa activists. The people who are actually breaking the law, who get the pass to do so. And he wants to go as a medic of some nature. He's got some training to be there to protect businesses if he needs to. As he's cleaning off graffiti, has conversations with people who own the car lots whose cars have been torched by these crowds. This is where the Second Amendment comes into play. You know, they're creating this image that he's this rogue nation who's deciding to go in and unilaterally decide people die or live. That's not at all what happened. He got bashed in the head multiple times by some dude with a freaking skateboard whose own past was rather dubious. And as a matter of self-defense, he argues, Kyle Rittenhouse does, he had to shoot. So the case for the prosecution is completely crumbling. This happens. The judge in the case, who I don't know about you guys if you followed it, is not somebody I'm finding to be particularly impressive. He's not good at taking his thoughts together and speaking cogently or effectively. His cell phone goes off in the midst of the proceeding. I want you to hear it because I have it here. You should have it there, Brock. Look and see. I want you to hear the ringtone, okay? And this is the new narrative that the media pounce on. It's not that a young man's life hangs in the balance. It's not that he was in a situation where he was being attacked, where he felt as though he needed to do something, as he says. It's not that the prosecution and its 20-odd witnesses over the course of days has failed to put the final nail in this coffin. In fact, if anything, they've proven Kyle Rittenhouse's self-defense case themselves. So this becomes the smokescreen. This is the new avenue in the religion of persecution instead of prosecution. Listen.
And if the court makes a finding that the actions that I had talked about were done in bad faith, then I think both elements.
So what you heard there was the defense attorney speaking to the judge. The judge gets a phone call. I don't know why his phone is out, but it is. He's forgotten to mute the ringer, whatever. So the da, 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 da comes out, and everybody in the media pounces on, oh my gosh, that's Lee Greenwood's, God Bless the USA, or whatever the song is, yes? He's a Trumper. The judge likes President Trump. What? You guys, are you honestly for real getting off into the weeds? Are you deflecting that far away from the lack of the case proven against this kid that you're going to claim that if the case doesn't go your way, in your religion's mind eye, it must be some kind of a mistrial or something because the judge's ringtone shows some semblance of political bias? What? These are professionals in the media saying this. This is how far we've come, my friends. Prosecution or persecution. Can you get a fair trial in this country depending on how you vote? This is what it's going to come down to. God forbid you get charged with a crime. The prosecution digs into your social media and you were at a Trump rally. Look out. And there's more. Wait until you hear the media montage we found. Unbelievable and yet totally believable. Idiot alert coming your way next on the Wendy Bell radio program.
We had that media thing yesterday, remember? Unless you find another one.
No, your CNN one.
Oh, where they lied? Not the mashup then. Where all of media is calling them.
Yeah, I prefer the CNN one. I think that's the one I'm going to be referring to coming up. I love God Bless the USA. Some of the comments these wackos are making online, calling it a cheesy song. or saying that it's somehow because Donald Trump used it as his walking out song at his rallies, that somehow you connect those dots and the judge in this case can't be trusted. What? I mean, honestly, can you just admit that you rushed to judgment, that you rushed to charges? Does anybody ask questions anymore? Like, does anybody do any research anymore? I almost feel like I know more about our guest yesterday, Congresswoman Kat Cammack from Florida, who was a wonderful guest, because we read about her. We spent the time. I knew her backstory. I asked her about it for a reason. Don't you think prosecutors whose job is to litigate serious, heavy cases like this should probably do the same thing? Yeah.
I think it's funny if you guys were watching yesterday, the actual trial, when the prosecutor says to him, "Hey, why are you calling Kenosha your community? You're from."
Because my dad lives
He's
there,
like,
you
"My
jag.
dad lives here."
Don't.
And he goes, "Well, let's change the. Well, that doesn't." And it's just like,
Didn't
wow,
you know?
didn't you know that?
You didn't know that, and you just You just stepped in a meringue-topped excrement pie. That's what you just did, because you're lazy, or you're deranged and outraged.
There you go. I just can't get past someone calling him Ned Flanders, and now that's all I see.
That's all you see. Sure, it's a great analogy.
And to LeBron James, who's a father, watching someone's son break down on the stand, what a piece of what an absolute joke. Like, Kate and I were watching it, and I'm just like, he can't control himself. I said the same thing.
Have you ever had that kind of a cry?
Yes.
Okay. It's ugly.
I remember it.
It's ugly because you can't control it. It's like literally, I would imagine, Brock, and this is I have no idea what it's like to have an epileptic seizure, but it's exhausting. I watched you emerge from the full clench and the complete convulsing that goes on for like a minute. And then afterwards, not only are you like spaced out, you have no idea what's going on. You're just your whole body, because you've been like, you
beat.
You were beat for a week.
Yeah.
That cry is like an all body convulsive cry. It's the worst. What made you cry like that?
None of your business.
Okay. Just had to see if he was going to go there with me.
If you can't figure it out,
I can figure it out. I can absolutely and we've all had something like that, you know. But I just thought that was
it was multiple times.
It was so low. That was so low. So insensitive.
I will say, the last time, I will admit, I was on the phone with my vet, and when he said, "Brock," and my vet is my friend, so he's always just looking at it. He's like, "It's time." I mean, I had to call him the next day and say, "I'm sorry I hung up on you," because I just couldn't. I couldn't speak. I couldn't.
No, I don't know, because I've never done that.
I couldn't. I couldn't get the breath to be able to speak. I can't imagine having to relive. I said the same thing about Alec Baldwin. I don't like the man.
I don't either.
I don't agree with him.
You'll have to live with that.
But he has to live with that the rest of his life. This Kyle kid has to live with this the rest of his life.
18,
the rest of his life. And I can't imagine. I don't want to imagine. I'm glad I can't. I can sympathize with him. Thank God I can't empathize with him, you know.
That's well said. That's well said. Shockingly.
Way to ruin a tender moment.
I just wanted everybody to make sure they knew I knew what was going on, and I'm still in charge. It's okay.
Here's a nice moment.
That's right.
Oh, well, thanks.
You want some meringue with that?
Yeah.
Fluffy, spongy, springy, sparkly. Looks so delicious.
You know, You with your always, is it going to hurt my feelings?
Don't hurt my feelings.
Yeah. I have a story to tell you.
I'd rather you punch me in the arm than hurt my feelings. Like, aw, that's too bad.
No. Here we go.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. And as I'm chewing over this as I'm watching the Rittenhouse trial yesterday, and I'm like, it's not about prosecution, it's about persecution. What do Nicholas Sandmann, the McCloskeys, Kyle Rittenhouse, and possibly, though outlierish, Derek Chauvin have in common? And I'm going to take Chauvin off of it. Those three before, though, Sandmann, McCloskeys, Kyle Rittenhouse, they're being persecuted because of the religion on the left not seeing eye to eye with somebody's decision making, somebody's choices. Again, Kyle Rittenhouse is going to have to live with what he did forever. And I think his emotional collapse on the stand yesterday, raw and on live television. You know, it's one thing to have that happen in the privacy of your home. This is it's open season for ridicule. We were talking in the stream about this, Alec Baldwin. I do not like Alec Baldwin. I love the actor. I love some of the things that he's done. I vehemently disagree with him and his viewpoints. But I feel for him. And he's a toxic, noxious individual when it comes to the flip side, to those of us on the right. I actually feel badly for him because you don't erase the fact that you took somebody's life, unless you're just cold-hearted, which I'm going to roll the dice and hope that 99% of us or more are not. But the ridicule of this, and then the media pouncing on this stupid ringtone. I want to read you this. Media figures went wild Wednesday with accusations of bias on the part of Kyle Rittenhouse trial judge Bruce Schroeder after his ringtone erupted in the courtroom, allegedly, to Lee Greenwood's God Bless the USA, though others heard Southern Cross by Crosby, Stills, and Nash. I don't know what it was. It's unfortunate that the judge didn't mute his phone. It was an unnecessary distraction. But look at what the media is doing now, using this as yet another smokescreen to deflect from their own lack of ability. This is a common theme. It's part of the religion. Don't ever be responsible for your failure to prepare, your failure to do research, your failure to prove your case. Find a reason that you've been biased, that somebody's been biased against you. Be outraged and be a victim. That's the strategy. What a sad state of affairs. The moment occurred as Kyle Rittenhouse defense tried to argue that the prosecution was deliberately trying to cause a mistrial by breaking several pretrial orders to cover up for their lousy performance in hopes of a do-over. Literally, you need no legal authority or experience whatsoever to follow that. You could absolutely see what was going on. It was as though they had the hand grenade, pulled the pin out, and were waiting for the thing to go. Because that would be the only hope to salvage any face in this case. Since Lee Greenwood's 4th of July anthem was frequently played at former President Trump's rallies, Greenwood also played at Trump's inauguration, media figures said the ringtone signaled the judge's political bias in favor of Kyle Rittenhouse. Have you ever heard, and well, that's obviously a loaded question. Have you today yet on this program heard anything more outlandishly idiotic than that? The excuses, the deflections, but then there's CNN. So CNN in some panel discussion, because, you know, there's nothing we could be talking about, like, I don't know, other things that impact all of us. Sky high costs of things. runaway inflation, Joe Biden pretending that another $2 trillion of spending is going to somehow make things better, our crazy migrant situation at the border, the discussions amid the Department of Justice about paying people who broke the law and came here illegally as some sort of reparations for their anguish. I mean, literally, you cannot make up how many layers of this deranged onion we could peel across or peel through. We've got to focus on the ringtone. So listen to CNN as it's talking about, I mean, literally, how much they know they're going to lose and want to win, so they're going to smear the right-wing media. Listen.
Laura, do you agree? Would you have put him on the stand?
If I was defense, I would have put him on the stand because, of course, remember the publicity surrounding this trial. There was a lot of a sympathetic media towards him. People who thought about him as essentially a bit of a martyr from this inflection point on racial tension in America. The idea of the amount of sort of GoFundMe-esque aids that came to his assistance.
Have I been asleep at the wheel for a while? Because I have yet to read one even remotely fair or balanced article about Kyle Rittenhouse and what happened in August of 2020 in Kenosha, Wisconsin. This is the strategy. And they scratch their head. They're like, wow, I don't understand why we've lost 70% of our audience. What? Well, then there's this. This is, to me, the icing on the poo cake, okay? Jeffrey Toobin, who himself is disgraceful. I can't even begin to describe how disgraceful he is. He's a failure upwards, another leftist who's failed upwards. He's CNN's legal analyst. He's a lawyer himself, and we'll get more into him. I want you to hear his dazzling analytics here, his impressions of Kyle Rittenhouse, the trial, and him on the stand, all of it. Cut number one.
Yeah. Two thoughts. One, what kind of idiot 17-year-old gets a giant gun and goes to a riot? He has no license. He has no training. He thinks he's going to scrub graffiti off with his AR-15. I mean, the stupidity of this is like...
Well, if we want to talk about stupidity, Jeffrey, masturbating on a Zoom call for work probably trumps whatever Kyle Rittenhouse's decision-making was, okay? How one could believe that during a work conference call, that is something that would even come into the mind and then be executed. Then he would be rehired after being let go. You cannot make it up unless you're a leftist, right? Can you even imagine? Hey, aren't you the guy that was masturbating on the video? What? And you're going to be the moral conscience, the barometer of somebody else's decision making? Are you out of your mind, you blithering fool? But then he continues. So what is it? Is he just an idiot? Jeffrey, is he an idiot or not? Cut number two.
This is like, what could possibly go wrong? Well, a lot went wrong. The good news for Kyle Rittenhouse is that he's not on trial for being an idiot. He's on trial for homicide. Right. And in that respect, I mostly agree with Joey that this is a tough case for the prosecution because it does seem like he has a plausible case of self-defense.
I want to ask you this. When you were watching last year, night after night after night, the video of cities burning, when you awakened, and if you still get a newspaper at home, and you opened up the front page, and you saw the burned out skeletal remains of buildings, businesses, lifelong dreams that fellow Americans poured their hearts and souls and every last dime into. Did you feel helpless? Because I did. To say that Kyle Rittenhouse or anyone who watched the police not fight back because they weren't allowed to. Because that was the whole point. To watch people suffer. To watch people be beaten. To watch stores be looted. And then to see the media, by and large, excuse that kind of insane depravity. I can completely understand why anybody would decide, I need to do something. I find it very interesting how many people feel like they're entitled to get into Kyle Rittenhouse's head. I've not been to a demonstration that's turned violent, but I've seen the video. I've seen the video where reporters were calling the burning, swallowed in flames building behind them just a figment of a mostly peaceful protest. For the better part of the calendar year, ladies and gentlemen, we were told this is the behavior that is excused. Until citizens like the McCloskeys in St. Louis, Missouri decide to do something and stand outside their porch, armed and ready. They become the danger, not the angry crowd that is busted in the iron gates and they're gated in community. That's marching down their street, trampling everybody's gardens, angry, entitled, excused, exonerated from anything they do because it was purposeful. These are the people who become demonized. The Nicholas Sandman standing on the steps in Washington, D.C., demonized for doing nothing other than standing with a really awkward look on his face as a protester gets in his face and then proceeds to lie about what happened. How many more of these cases do we have to see before somebody says, you know what? It's one thing for the court of public opinion to go sideways, but for the legal system to do it is a wholly different story. And it's dangerous. And I shudder to think, while not impressed with the judge's performance thus far, can you imagine the law school students going through the process right now who will be the judges, the adjudicators of the future? That, my friends, should scare every single one of us. Dr. Charles Simkovich and the Simkovich Concussion Institute invite you to give them a phone call. It costs you nothing to do it. You lose and risk nothing, except possibly having the traumatic brain injury that you've suffered erased, literally healed by the hands of a revolutionary treatment. Dr. Simkovich, for several decades, has been working on this procedure. And it's non-surgical, and he takes people who've suffered concussions and come back from war, who've gotten bashed in sports or hurt in an accident, and taken those symptoms, alleviate the symptoms, but also heal the physical structure of the brain. And most of his patients get relief in less than a week. That is triumphant. Pick up the phone, call 416-366-3700, 412-366-3700, Simkovich, concussioninstitute.com. You know, and it's important as we talk about just this whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing as a springboard, watching the treatment of a teenager and how it's been presented and how people judge. And then you've got the flip side. You have YouTube now taking a decided action to make sure they protect the President of the United States. How is unbelievable to me. I'll tell you about it next on the Wendy Bell Radio program. I'm kind of surprised that none of these outfits has done a deep dive on, maybe they have. I don't pay that much attention, I have to admit. Doing a dive into his family or whatever.
Kyle Rittenhouse. It might not be sexy. That's
because there's no rules when it comes to the religion of the left. There are no rules.
Well, here's the problem with Jeffrey Toobin, aside from the thought of him being on a Zoom call, and him being the moral police and the guy who judges somebody on the decisions they
Yes, correct.
You're on for a legal analysis.
Mm-hmm.
You spent more
Your emotions
time.
should not be part of it.
You spent more time calling this kid an idiot than you did with your legal. After he said what he felt, after he gave you your liberal explanation of how I feel, and you should take that into consideration, I'll give you 10 seconds of legal analysis that says, yeah, he's probably going to walk because he has a great case for self-defense. Thanks, Jeffrey. Thanks for giving us the 5 minutes of the liberal holier than thou.
We could probably nail this in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And we could then go on to the other news of the day.
I could beat Ned Flanders in this court case.
Right? It's really quite extraordinary when you pay attention to the nuance of it, which is in your face.
And this kid's going to sue the ever living snot out of all the media outlets.
You should have Nick Sandmann on speed dial,
Well, Nick Sandmann,
just like Joe Rogan was on
CNN.
No, was on
Ivermectin.
Yes, and Aaron Rodgers. How they got connected and helped each other. Just watch out.
Well,
Nick Sandmann knows how to win.
The fact is, precedent had been set with Nicholas Sandmann. So you don't.
That's what we said yesterday.
They're not even going to have to try.
They didn't learn.
They're going to be like, oh, here's the playbook.
Yeah.
CNN, how much of the check? MSNBC.
Yeah.
How much of the check?
And to whom? How do you spell Kyle?
Yeah. Should we make this the
Is
cash?
that a C or a K? Yeah,
Should we make this the cash?
It should never have come to that if we had the ability of law enforcement. And quite frankly, Donald Trump is as guilty as anybody else. He had the ability to go in and help out. He did. He had the ability to mobilize the National Guard. Now, granted, cities and states are on their own whatever, but come on. And he did nothing. He did nothing.
All views are expressed are Wendy Bell's.
Amen.
I know.
Amen. How many times, though, I said, why isn't he doing anything?
Right.
Because we have to let this happen.
Here we go.
And I'm sure some of you aren't going to like this perspective, but Donald Trump has culpability here, too. This was going on during his presidency. He saw what was going on. Now, where is the role of the federal government vis-a-vis that of the states and municipalities? We're supposed to be our own systems with an oversight here of federal bureaucracy, which it has become. But I have to believe that these protests and this sort of madness could long ago have been squelched unless this was exactly what had to happen for people to realize what happens when you try to defund, blame, demoralize, emasculate the police. There you go. How do you like us now? We've had multiple BS boards recently of skyrocketing murder and crime rates. Wow. Can you imagine connecting those dots? You don't have people who want to do the job because they're not allowed to do their job. They're spit on, they're shot at, their bricks are thrown at them. Why would you ever want to be a cop? And then what? A corresponding spike in malfeasance and criminal activity? Who could have possibly seen this coming? Again, purposeful? Probably. Are these all little smoke screens to take away from what's actually going on, the whole globalist nature of the overtaking of our country? Possibly. Either way, you're not going to get anything real about it out of YouTube. Do you guys see this headline? This is outrageous. YouTube deleted 2.5 million dislikes from Biden White House videos and now is no longer showing you how many dislikes the president or any of his minions get. Oh my, is that so? You guys have heard me talk about the website 81m.org. This is run by an anonymous data cruncher using YouTube's own algorithm, following specifically one thing: White House videos. Anything put up on the White House YouTube channel, this anonymous individual, using YouTube's own algorithms and data, whatever, that's well beyond me, follows how many people have watched something, and in snapshots of time, how many times YouTube manipulates the number of people who dislike something that the president is saying, or Jen Psaki, or any of these other people. And it is incredible. 2.5 million dislikes since January 20th. Are you kidding me? Now, coming up, we're going to play some of the, we want to play the sound right now. Do you have time? A little bit? You want to use the second one?
We could at least play the first one.
All right. I want you to hear. So some YouTube guy, oh, he's a handsome guy. He's explaining to you, there's nothing to see here about this new policy. We're just going to be manipulating the liver out of stuff, but it makes sense. Go ahead.
Hey folks, you may have seen a while back that YouTube announced it was experimenting with making dislike counts private to only the creator of the video. Now, if you're like me, you were surprised by that. I mean, I've always thought seeing the number of dislikes on a video helps us know as viewers if it's a good video or not, if it's a helpful tutorial or not, or if what a creator is saying in their video is generally agreed with or not. But unfortunately, research teams at YouTube have found there's this whole other use for disliking a video that I had never experienced as a creator, and you may not have either. Apparently, groups of viewers are targeting a video's dislike button to drive up the count, turning it into something like a game with a visible scoreboard. And it's usually just because they don't like the creator or what they stand for. That's a big problem when half of YouTube's mission is to give everyone a voice. So earlier in 2021, YouTube experimented with making the public dislike count private to see if it would help reduce these coordinated dislike attacks across the platform. And after analysis, they did see a reduction.
Bullcrap! Boop. That is such crap, it's not even funny. People don't like Joe Biden. People do not like Kamala Harris. People don't trust this administration. People go on YouTube and they express their displeasure by giving it a big thumbs down. What you're doing, YouTube, and you can try to lie as much as you want, but we know what you're doing. You don't want everybody to know just how badly the most voted for man in American history, how much people don't like him.
You left out one thing.
Uh-oh.
81m.org.
Yes.
Can't find it anymore.
Yeah. So our friends who run 81M, as in 81 million voting for this guy, are you out of your mind, .org? You log on to that website now and it doesn't exist. Well, isn't that interesting? So not only are we going to modify what you see in the president's press briefings, we're going to actively silence people who try to tell the truth. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to America 2021. Don't go anywhere. Congressional candidate from Pennsylvania, Teddy Daniels, a fighter, coming up live next.
I'm going to run real quick.
Got it. You always go right when the phone is supposed to ring. I know.
You didn't tell him straight up 10, did you?
He'll call when he calls. Maybe if you didn't drink 75 glasses of water every day. I haven't even really gotten completely into YouTube. I find this so disingenuous. It's not even funny. Well, it's meant to be an all-out fraud, controlling the story, controlling what you're allowed to see. But you know what? 81 million people didn't vote for this guy, and you and I all know it. Duh. So obviously, if he was so well liked, if he was so popular, people would be falling over themselves to see wherever he goes, to see whatever he says, to listen, to be captivated. All right, let's see. Make sure he didn't text me or something.
You know, I would say that since I've been drinking as much water as I have, I feel a lot better.
Good for you. In what regard?
I cut out a lot of I was a big tea drinker. And I probably haven't had iced tea. I want to say a good 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So someone asked me yesterday what I put in my water. I put this little Mio stuff in, just like for a little flavor. I can only drink so much water before I need something taste-wise.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have sugar now, but it gives me a flavor of something. I have like 50 of them, of not just the same kind, but I feel better.
Well, that's good.
And I limit myself to 2 cups of coffee in the morning.
I do that, and then I usually have a third here. I hit a wall. Don't you hit, like, there are certain like times where you're like, boom. I do.
I used to, but I mean, I'm going to attribute it to the water. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't.
What made you do that?
I don't have the ebb and flows.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
you just have the time in the John,
right?
Which is good, cleaning out your system. I like it. Smart.
You know, I just figured, boy, I probably shouldn't be drinking this much tea. And then when I first cut out the tea, I was getting those caffeine headaches.
Ah, yes.
So
he said
I was like,
2 minutes. He'll call in 2 minutes. I really like this man. We're going to play part of his ad for you.
No sugar.
Joe's cut out all caffeine, all sugar from his life.
I haven't done that. I haven't cut out all sugars, but I noticed the difference.
He doesn't like sugar, so it wasn't hard for him.
Chuck half your body weight in ounces. My water bill will be through the roof.
Half your body weight in ounces.
Yeah, so if you weighed 100 pounds, 50 ounces of water.
Wow, thanks. Is that how it works?
Well, you brought it up like, what does that mean?
So let's see.
Oh, David said tea dehydrates you.
That means I would have to have 7 to 8 full glasses of water a day. That makes sense.
I'm good, Teddy. How are you?
I'd have to pee a lot too.
I'm good. I love your commercials. Love your commercials. I'm going to put you on hold. We have about 3 minutes, okay? Okay.
I think he's outstanding. How long is the commercial leading into him? How long is it? Or do you want me to do that on the flip?
His
yeah.
is 1:27.
Yeah, I don't want to do that then. I don't want to rob him of his time. Or, can we?
I forgot to make him a...
You're fired. HR. How about we do that? How about we do that? And I'll come out and I'll say, hey, this caught our eye, and I think we're going to see more of this coming up in the near term, more of these sorts of ads. I think you guys are going to love it.
I'm putting on phone. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Is for the okay.
Mm-hmm. So be prepared for that. Yes.
You'll see it across the bottom.
I'm asking you about the video that I want to play out of the jingle.
I'm worried about you criticizing
I understand, which is why I'm trying to direct you here.
Oh, wow.
Hocus pocus. That happened.
Will you call for it? And then I'll play it.
Okay. I just want to get to it quickly because I don't want to rob him of his time.
And for the person who sent me this thing, it says I should embrace being uninvited. That is a joke. I am more of a
Why do you
loner
have
than
to
you
even
can imagine.
comment on it?
I just think it's funny. Caffeine is a dehydrator.
Facts.
Maybe I was dehydrated.
Isn't that a diuretic?
I don't know.
It's a diuretic. Joe usually texts me if he hears us to correct me in the medical stuff, which I appreciate.
There's always HR issues, Alan. I've been threatened to be thrown down the stairs multiple times. I've come to get used to it.
Well, I could say I was going to choke you, and then
I'm going to take you to court, and Jeffrey Toobin's going to be and say, "Hey, we're going to do this over Zoom if you don't settle."
Just don't shake his hand.
Zoom call with Jeffrey Toobin if you don't settle.
Yuck. All right. Let's go.
All right, here we go.
Using facts to take on the woke politicians, triggered leftists, and the corporate media.
You just got to try harder not to suck.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, you're listening to the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, you guys know how I feel about veterans. You know how I feel about law enforcement, about loving America, about defending this country. And in one ad, one man seems to wrap all of that up with a bow. Check it out.
I'm Teddy Daniels, and I'm running for Congress in Scranton, Pennsylvania. You know, Joe Biden's hometown. I despise swampy, sellout politicians. And that's exactly why I'm running. I'm tired of these elitist suits who have sold out our country, and something needs to be done about it. These establishment sellouts are completely out of touch with real America. They are nothing more than bought and paid for hacks who sell out America and the individual freedoms and liberties of everyday people like you and me. They don't care about protecting your freedom of speech, your right to bear arms, or even election security. They're more concerned about appeasing the left than they are standing up for us. Time to bring out the big guns. And the big guns are the millions of men and women in this country who feel as though their voices aren't being heard. I'll be your voice. I did my part and served our country in the U.S. Army. I survived gunfights with Taliban terrorists in Afghanistan, and they gave me a Purple Heart. If I was willing to risk my life for freedom when I was deployed overseas, you know I will take the fight to the enemies of this nation in the halls of Congress. I'm in this fight for my family, and I'm in this fight for your family. I've been a fighter my whole life. This is a fight that I won't walk away from, and I've never backed down from anyone or anything in a fight. Send me to Congress so I can be your voice.
Right? Is that the best? Joining me now, Teddy Daniels himself running for Congress in Pennsylvania. Hello, sir. Welcome aboard.
Wendy, how are you? Is this really Wendy Bell? This is awesome.
It is so. Shut up.
What an incredible intro! Thank you so much.
I love your ad. I love your fire. I love your heart. How you feel. You say and do what I have in my heart every single day, and it's right on, right on, right on.
Thank you, and thank you. This is great.
Well, I gotta say, running in the Commonwealth of the Land Before Time is always a struggle because swampiness, was born here. But I feel great things about you. Tell everybody about you, what you're trying to do, and what was the trigger that pushed you over the edge to get your hat in the ring.
Wow. Okay. So I was a cop for 15 years, and then. Wendy, my midlife crisis, I didn't go buy the red convertible Corvette. I enlisted active duty military. I went infantry. Was stationed in Fort Carson, Colorado. In 2012, was deployed to Afghanistan. Took a few bullets over there. And 2014, I was medically retired, and came back to Pennsylvania, and started my life with my family. My youngest son is 4 years old. His name is Jack Daniels, and oh yeah,
right on. That's not me. That's him. I'm hoping that was on your end, Teddy, because I don't know what the heck that was. Did we just get him? Is he on like a hold or something? What happened? I have no idea.
I think Teddy might be on a hold somewhere.
Really? Well, we'll have to see if we can get. I have no idea.
I'm going to have to drop him, and hopefully he calls us back.
Well, yeah, that was really unusual. I've never heard that happen before. I'm going to text him real fast while we have him. That is I did not realize that he did that backwards, because usually you would do, I don't know, I would think you'd be
Military,
younger. You do
then
the
police.
military and then police, right? I'm going to say call back. He will. Oh, there he is. We'll see. I have absolutely no idea why that happened, but welcome to the beauty of live radio. It is what it is. Brock's got him on hold. We're going to bring him back, and he is here. I have no idea what happened. We got you, Jack Daniels. Take it away. You continue, sir.
All right, Wendy. This is the feds cutting my call off because they don't like what I have to say.
Right?
So I'm telling you. So Wendy, I was the guy that just wanted to be left alone, enjoy time with my family, and the left couldn't do that. They kept pushing and pushing. And if you were a Trump supporter, if you were a conservative, you were an enemy of the people. People would tear down your Trump signs. You saw all the videos where they would dump milkshakes on people with MAGA hats and throwing eggs at the lady with the Trump jersey on. And then you had the Antifa and BLM movement, which is nothing but paid loser thugs running across this country, creating havoc. And I'm thinking to myself, where's the Republicans?
Right on.
How come they're not standing up and doing something? And it got to the point where I finally realized that the establishment GOP, the establishment Republicans, are spineless cowards. And I don't want to have the conversation when my son gets older and I look at him and he says to me, he goes, "Daddy, how come nobody stood up? How come nobody stopped this?" And I could give him the same spiel saying, well, they're all in bed together. They all have the same special interest donors. They're all there for their own political careers, and nobody is truly there to fight. And Wendy, I think what makes me different than most folks running for office is I'm not looking to go have steak dinners with these people.
Right on.
I am looking to go put my size 13 where the sun doesn't shine with these people.
Right on.
That's what I'm looking to do.
Yeah.
I am sick and tired of the political system in this country.
You sound so similar to our mutual friend, Pennsylvania State Senator and Army Colonel, war hero Doug Mastriano, who said when he retired, he's like, I could have taken that cushy paycheck. I could have walked off into the sunset and said sayonara, but there was a mission that needed to be served. And this is why I say again and again, we need more veterans in office, because intrinsically you are, and on this Veterans Day, sir, you are mission focused. And what we have is too much of me focused in Congress. Would you agree?
I would say that. And I would say this, and this is for all veterans out there. First off, happy Veterans Day to everybody out there who's ever worn a uniform. You guys are my brothers and sisters, and I love you. Veterans are the people who put their name on that line to serve a purpose bigger than themselves. And they knew what the ultimate price could be if it came to that. But they still put their name on that line for a bigger purpose. It's called selfless service, is what it's called. And politicians don't have that. Politicians, it's me, 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 me. I mean, you just see what happened with Corman playing political football with the audit. Screw Colonel Mastriano. Screw the people of Pennsylvania. I want to run for governor.
Correct.
So I'm going to yank this and use it as a political football. And you know what? I'm not afraid to come out and say that because that's exactly what happened.
100%. And for those of you listening across the country, in fact, across the planet, because we know you are, we have our own political gamesmanship here in the Commonwealth of the Land Before Time, where rhino Republicans pretend to be a part of something that they're really not a part of. And they thwart those true patriots who want what we want. And that's election integrity. That's border safety. That's what's right for our families. And you know what's interesting, Teddy? As you're running for Congress after serving this country, combat veteran, Trump supporter, unabashed Trump supporter, as am I, it really boils down to the legacy that you leave your children. Am I right?
You are absolutely right. You know, Wendy, Thomas Paine had a quote who said, which was, "If trouble must come, let it come in my time, so my children may live in peace."
Right on.
This is not a fight that I can kick down the road to my kids. This is a fight none of us can kick down the road to our kids or our grandchildren. It's our fight. We have to step up, and we have to get it done. And, Wendy, let me tell you, like, it's archery season right now, okay? I'm a big bow hunter. I hunt with a rifle. Like, this is the time of year that I'm normally spending 8, 10, 12 hours a day in the woods, doing my thing. But you know what? We need to get it done for this country. And if we don't get it done, God knows what's going to happen down the road. That's the scary part, because the career politicians are not getting it done, and they haven't been getting it done, and they have sold us out.
How can we help you? You got a wide audience. How do we help?
Go to TeddyDanielsPA.com. You know, that's my website. There's a bunch of handsome pictures of me on there. And, you know, folks can go on. There's actually a donate button. And let me tell you, we are fighting the establishment machine. So every little piece of help that we can get, I don't care if it's $5. Let me tell you, it adds up. And Wendy, I got to tell you this, you know, with all the money we've raised over $500,000 so far for this congressional campaign. 99% of it has been small dollar donors.
Right.
And that tells people, hey, you know what? Teddy's not in the pocket of special interests. Teddy's not sold out to specific large dollar donors. I'm here for the people. And that's what it is, Wendy.
It's how I feel every single day on this program. I feel like every single day, while I'm not a veteran, I feel like I am, because we've been through battle. You know, I lace on the boots every day because what we have to do is save this country. And that sounds like it's something glorified, but it's real, Teddy. We have a country to save.
It is. It is. And Wendy, let me tell you, we have a state to save too. And, you know, for the past couple months, there's been a lot of groups, a lot of organizations, a lot of businesses in the state of Pennsylvania who have reached out to me. And they said, Teddy, you know what? We kind of know who we want for governor. And Wendy, you and I are on the same page as far as that's concerned.
Yep.
Okay? But a lot of folks have reached out and said, you know what? This man needs a bulldog as a lieutenant governor. There has been, every day I get the phone calls, I get the emails, I get the messages. Teddy, run for lieutenant governor, we'll support you. Run for lieutenant governor, we'll support you. Now, Wendy, I'll tell you this. I feel I have this congressional seat pretty much locked up.
Nice.
You know what I mean? But who knows what redistricting is going to bring? Who knows what's going to happen down the road? I heard that the rhinos in Harrisburg are looking to try and district me out because they don't want a guy like me. So if they district me out, then they're really going to have to deal with me, aren't they?
Amen.
So we'll see what happens.
Well,
you know, because I'm not going anywhere. I am in this fight. And I don't care if it's going to be in Harrisburg or if it's going to be in D.C. I'm in the fight. So we'll see how everything plays out.
I think it's outstanding. I think you're a voice we need. You speak the truth, and you have the hearts of Americans in play here. And, you know, I have your six. So I'm just grateful.
I know you do, Wendy. Thank you.
I'm so grateful to hear your voice and to support you as you march into the fire here, because it's going to heat up. But, my man, you're a warrior. So you come on back anytime you wish, okay?
Oh, Wendy, that's great. Now you're not going to get rid of me.
That's okay.
Hey, love your show. Love what you do. Keep spreading the truth.
Amen. You too, sir. Happy
All right.
Veterans Day. Thank you. Thank you so much. Congressional candidate, or hopefully he's going to be a congressman from the great state of Pennsylvania, Teddy Daniels. You know, this is what we have, ladies and gentlemen. We have fighters. Who's the one person today? Will you be the one person tomorrow? Tom Yakupin is that one person for so many people who are confused by all of the decisions and the paperwork and the nuance of insurance, medical insurance, health insurance, life insurance. If you're a small business owner, if you're just trying to insure yourself, you're a gig worker and you don't know how to get the best policy, Tom Yakupin knows he can save you between 25 and 50% on what you currently pay on your monthly premium, your deductibles, your copay. He knows he can, and oftentimes he can save people even more than that. This is his lane. This is what Tom Yakupin does, and he's an expert at it, insurance. He's a friend of ours. He's a patriot, and I trust him implicitly. Call, no matter where you live, 724-230-4500, 724-230-4500. Go to newerahealthplans.com. Tom Yakupin. When we come back, I feel so enthused. I feel invigorated when you hear a patriot talk, right? We're going to juxtapose that with some Joe Biden. I'm sorry. I know. Too soon? Well, we're going to blow some of his stuff out of the wire. Coming up next on the Wendy Bell Radio program. Don't go anywhere. People who feel it don't need to read it.
Amen. Amen. I like him because it's like I like the guy from Georgia.
Mike Collins.
I like the Kat Cammack.
Kat Cammack.
These are people who started doing it because of their life experience. Not because not because they're Connor Lamb, who's been groomed for this position. It's the Sean Purnells. He's not been groomed for this position. He
served 435 days in the fires of hell on the Iraq-Afghanistan border. 85% of his platoon got Purple Hearts, if that tells you anything.
Yeah, I mean, these are people that have had experiences that affected them to where they say, no. You're not doing this. It's Kat, the Congresswoman Kat Cammack, saying they didn't read the bill. My family lost their farm.
We were homeless.
These are the people that you want to run because they're running for the right reasons.
He invigorates me. It's being around Doug Mastriano. When you're around him, you leave as though you've been infused with an IV of hope. You're like, yes, I'm not on this weird island by myself.
Teddy could have a Trump-like event where people show up. It's all like-minded people who respect and love the country.
He's got the bikers with the vests and the boots.
But he's got guys like people like me.
He's got grandmas. He's got housewives. He's
got people that never served because they couldn't. It's the same with, like you both alluded to, it's the same with Doug. Here's a guy who didn't have to do it. But he's doing it for the right reasons. He truly loves this country.
Yes.
He loves this state. We walked around with him for 3 hours probably?
In Gettysburg.
The guy truly loves this country and loves the history of all of it.
Oh my gosh.
All of it.
Yes.
The good and the bad.
You celebrate it all.
Right.
It makes you who you are.
No one learns from complete success. You learn from failure.
Why do you think I tell stories about shoplifting?
Here we go.
Now, what you hear when you listen to certain people versus other people, you can hear when somebody is speaking from the heart. You don't need talking points. You don't need a teleprompter. You don't need cue cards. You don't need bullet points or sticky notes. You don't need a binder with tabs to flip through when you're asked questions, because the answer is burned into your soul. It is the flag behind me. It is when we say the Pledge of Allegiance, and it's not just, well, we got to say the Pledge of Allegiance. It's one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. What we're fighting for isn't just a political victory. It is the saving of our country. It is the righting of the wrongs that by and large, far too many of us didn't pay attention to. We let the floodwaters of socialism and liberalism and progressivism seep into our foundation. We didn't open the basement door and walk down the steps to hear it. The gurgling as it choked out the pilot light on the water heater. And then all of a sudden, one day, when they started trying to indoctrinate our children, did parents and grandparents and neighbors awaken and say, wait, what? And now we're playing catch up. But we are going to not only catch up, we are going to right what has been wronged. Listen to the difference in voices that you hear. Donald Trump, coming up in a little bit, is going to be talking about our nation's heroes, our veterans. Do you think Donald Trump needs a teleprompter to talk about how he feels about the men and women who raise their hand, the less than 1%, who promise to do whatever God is asking them to do to protect us all? Do you think Joe Biden is going to have some prepared comments? For sure. We pleaded for you the other day. The man in Pennsylvania who's our attorney general, who wants to be governor, not because he loves Pennsylvania, not because he drives the highway and goes down the highly overpriced turnpike to see the rolling hillsides and the grain silos and the industry and the people who make America's heartbeat pump. Not because he loves that, but because he feels his time is owed him. This is my next step. I deserve this. I'm Hillary Clinton. This is mine. No, this is our land. You either want to be a part of it for the right reasons or you don't. And if you have to read off of a piece of paper at a rally just to say that you want to be governor, you don't feel the way we feel. And it is so gosh darn obvious. You're listening to the Wendy Bell radio program. Back right after this.
I don't know if I have the sound that you're talking
Biden 1 and 2?
Oh, you said Trump was coming up.
No. He's today. He's speaking. Yeah, he's addressing. I don't know where he's going to be, but
I'm mission focused on the show.
Huh?
I'm mission focused on
yeah.
the show.
Well, that's good. You know, that's what bothered me so much about Josh Shapiro. He's got this crowd around him, right? He's got the optics. So you've got the podium, you've got whatever seal on the
It was
podium.
made for TV.
You've got the crowd behind you with the signs, but nobody's enthusiastic. Terry McAuliffe, nobody's enthusiastic. Kamala Harris, nobody's excited to be there. Joe Biden, nobody wants to be there. In fact, people show up to support President Trump. They think we're stupid. It's not that. They're the drive-by leftists. Truly. Drive-by politicians. It's what we've always done. It's going to keep working. Nobody's paying attention. They're on cruise control. No, we're awake.
I just Shapiro is just everything he does is in the interest of him.
Yes.
Everything.
Yeah.
The only thing that he did that was sort of it and the only thing he's really known for that everyone can agree on was the Catholic Church. I can't tell you. And
tell everybody who doesn't know.
From Pennsylvania. So he went over after the Catholic Church and the priests and the pedophilia and the sexual deviance of the Catholic Church, of kids being molested. He went after them and won. Right?
I don't know whatever happened to it, but
neither. My point being is that I can't tell you, and I've been in the media long enough. I've worked with people who have interviewed him multiples of times. I can't tell you anything he stands for. He's a talking points kind of guy. Teddy Daniels did not have talking points in front of him. Doug Mastriano does not have talking points in front of him. Donald Trump obviously did not have talking points in front of him. But when you hear, I don't know, maybe is it just me, or when you hear someone too perfect, you become I question. Boy, that seemed rehearsed. That was too. It's the Kyle Rittenhouse. Break it down on the stand. If you think that was rehearsed, LeBron, that's not rehearsed. And how out of touch are you? I know he's used to flopping on the court or whining to get his call.
But see, this is why I balk at the fake eyelashes. You know, all of the get up to get on television. It's like nobody wants perfect. They want you to be you. Be authentic because you're perfect with all your imperfections. It doesn't matter. Like you don't have to have that. Well, look at what happened in New Jersey. You've got the Senate long-term leading Democrat who spends $300,000 on his campaign, bested by a dude who spent $2,300, who's not perfect. Wake up. Either you're authentic or you will lose. And unfortunately, when your mission is you focused, you won't win. We'll make sure of that. Like how many folks are going to be on TV today? How many are going to have tributes to our veterans, do you think?
Oh,
it should be the lead story. To me, nothing.
They'll have a package put together that's probably been put together for you. And I had this conversation this morning. You know, these people have packages. When you see obituaries come out that are already produced, that's because in the media, when someone looks like they may die, you're in the newsroom months ahead of time, weeks ahead of time, putting packages together. So when they die, you can roll it right out. That's why when a Kobe Bryant goes down in a plane wreck, there's no tributes ready. He's not supposed to, you know. And they'll have some prepackaged crap that they roll out there for Veterans Day. But let's be honest. Who's really watching CNN and MSNBC that cares about Veterans Day?
I'm not ashamed.
So who's going to call them out on it? here we go.
Well, I think one thing that we can agree on is that the pushback against where the left, where progressives want this country to go, and the stories they try to share or the way they try to tell the news is receiving such terrible response from the public in general, that this is why YouTube now has to go and manipulate the number of dislikes on the White House YouTube channel. They can try to put lipstick on this pig all day long and say, what was their statement here? YouTube is going to hide the dislike counts on all White House videos to curb creator harassment. What does that mean? That means nobody likes what the White House is putting out. I grabbed a couple screen shares here before everything blew up, and our ability to actually and honestly look at how the most voted for president in American history is somehow bombing so royally whenever he opens his mouth. Think about this. Dr. Doom has a documentary out about him. Brock sadly watched it. I did not. I probably will, much against my feelings of sanity.
Please don't.
Okay. So I was curious. How was this received? He's a figment of the administration. Widely disliked. Is there any wonder why National Geographic, the ultimate, right? That with NPR, could you be more liberal? Okay. Putting out a video, a documentary about Dr. Fauci, as though anybody gives a fat rip about the dude, because he's basically ruined so many aspects of normal free life here in this country. So the National Geographic documentary trailer got 8.2 thousand thumbs ups. That's a lot. It's a hell of a lot. I'm going to have you guess.
8,000?
8.2 thousand thumbs ups. Okay. How many thumbs downs, people who did not like it, do you think it got?
After watching it, I did not dislike it. I didn't do a thumbs down, but I'm going to say at least 110,000.
128,000 thumbs downs.
That doesn't surprise me. It was that bad.
On Disney Plus, the Dr. Doom official trailer received 874 thumbs ups. 874. Disney Plus, you know what? You kind of messed things up when you screwed with people who spoke out and spoke the truth on your channels. 11,000 thumbs downs. 874 up. 11. It's obvious. The only way for you to change the narrative is for you to allow people not to speak as part of the narrative. This is astonishing to me. The Google-owned video platform allows users to give videos either the thumbs up like or the thumbs down dislike. For at least 2 years, it's had a policy to remove likes and dislikes it considers spam. No, what you're doing is you're manipulating public comment to spin your own narrative or support your own people who everybody else obviously overwhelmingly disagrees with. Duh. The White House videos have seen these kinds of interventions on an ongoing basis, but appears it's only the dislikes that are disappearing. Get out of town. What? It's not fair? Get out. The channel has posted more than 300 videos, 300, that have garnered nearly 3.7 million dislikes, of which nearly 2.5 million have been removed, according to data posted on our website that we like, 81m.org, which mysteriously has vanished from the cyber atmosphere. YouTube is deleting close to 8,000 dislikes per video on average. You guys, I have been watching the videos from the White House Press Channel. I have seen not a single video receive triple or 4-digit support. It's always in the 150 to 250 person thumbs up range, and the thousands upon thousands of thumbs downs. But he's the man everybody voted for, right? So speaking of Joe Biden, I think it's important that we should talk about what he's done to our economy. Speaking in the Port of Baltimore yesterday, he says his new spending bill is going to decrease inflation. Does anybody, can you help me with this? We're going to spend more, but everything's going to get better. No, it doesn't work like that, Joe. And we know this. In fact, a survey of 3,430 small businesses nationwide finds 90% fear inflation is going to hurt their recovery. And that 40%, 48% are highly concerned about it. Well, they should be. How about the consumer prices? Consumer prices hit a 31-year high in October, ladies and gentlemen. Can you imagine what this month is going to be to the numbers? The Consumer Price Index, which monitors all sorts of things we purchase, gasoline, food, etc. The Consumer Price Index rose 6.2% in October of this year versus last October. Sky-high inflation with no end in sight. But this is how Joe Biden, the most voted for president ever in American history, is spinning the tale of your financial concerns.
Closed port in China, it can delay shipment of furniture or clothing, reduce worldwide supply, and driving up prices here in America. And the irony is people have more money now because of the first major piece of legislation I passed. You all got checks for $1,400. You got checks for a whole range of things. If you're a mom and you have kids under the age of 7, you're getting $300 a month. And if it's over 7 to 17, you're getting $360 a month.
How many people thought getting a COVID check was a life changer? Did that really change the trajectory of your family's economic situation? As you were forced to stay at home, as you might have lost your small business because your governor told you it wasn't safe? Does getting $300 or $360 a month per child really move the needle for you? Or does that help you keep your head above water? How many people took that $1,200 and put it in an IRA for the future, where it can grow and become some semblance of a savings, right? How about probably nobody? How out of touch is Joe Biden? He says it's China's fault that we have the supply chain issue. Well, it's America's fault for relying so much on China. See, if you don't have crippling corporate taxes, if you incentivize things to be made in the USA, you're not waiting at the docks trying to see if that big tanker is coming in, that big ship is coming in with all of your stuff, because it's already here. You could say the same thing, Joe, about gas. Why are we waiting to ship it in when we're sitting right on top of it? So because of COVID in China, the origins of COVID, there's a supply chain crisis. Joe Biden's excuse for that? He says, you know what? It's not that bad, though. People are doing better than ever. They have more money now. How does that resonate with you? You guys doing okay? You're feeling good? You're feeling good about that gas price that you just paid? Pretty good about that? Worried at all about the winter costs? Heating your house? Eggs, milk, beef? How you doing? Well, to prove how out of touch the most voted for president in American history is, here's cut number 2. Wow.
like wealthy people used to do when they get back tax returns. It changes people's lives. But what happens if there's nothing to buy and you got more money, you compete for getting it there, it creates a real problem. So on the one hand, we're facing new disruptions to our supplies. At the same time, we're also experiencing higher demand for goods because wages are up, as well as people have money in the bank.
Who? Wages are up, but nobody's showing up to work. How does that work? Does that help? Joe Biden saying that his spending plan, which represents historic tax increases, will ease the supply chain crisis by making goods available and lowering consumer prices. Can you guys help me with economics on that? I don't understand this. So you're demanding, and people, because they've gotten very comfortable sitting on the couch cashing in their checks, they're not going to go back at their traditional wages. So it's literally a free-for-all. I want $25 an hour. I want 4 weeks of vacation. I want paternity, maternity. I want sick leave. I want a 401k to make salads at your restaurant. What? How can businesses not charge more? How are your prices not going to keep going up, Joe? And did any rich person who got a tax refund, did it change their lives? No, it was money that you've already paid because our taxes are too high to begin with. And most people roll them over, those with wealth, roll them over into the perceived whatever slam will be next tax year. Now, like, woo, let's go to Cancun, kids. Pack your bags. You have a government that either doesn't care or doesn't know what's really going on. And I don't know which one is more dangerous. Probably doesn't care. All this while, of course, there are discussions about how much we should pay immigrants separated from their children at the border under Donald Trump. Why would we even have any kind of a discussion about that during an economic crisis? Because your government doesn't care. Dr. Richard Rafferty and the folks who work at the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh care about getting you back on your feet. They care about you living a pain-free life, about being able to play with your grandchildren, go outside and do all of the things you want to do, and fixing your bulging, herniated, or degenerative discs. Surgery is a big step. For a lot of folks, it's the last step. It's the only option. But there is a different option, and it could work for you. Dr. Richard Rafferty knows all about it because he does it. It's called intra-disc neutrosis. 98% successful. Your discs can heal, and he knows how to make it happen. Call him. Make your appointment. Costs you nothing. He'll tell you if you're a candidate and what the next steps are. That's how easy it is. And they love helping people. 412-906-9600. PittsburghDiscInstitute.com. You know, we're on the cusp of the Ask Us Anything segment. I think at 11 o'clock, we're going to open up the phone lines. We want to hear what you want to talk about. I know what we want to talk about. But I got a little something for you out of Michigan. An interesting thing going on there in the school system that had to close. Why? We'll tell you about it coming up next on the Wendy Bell Radio program. Ireland contracting. No?
Sure. Battle out of this too.
Oh, well, I'll wait then for Ireland. Actually, no, I won't. I like talking about Ireland contracting. There's a woman in our neighborhood who's changing the outside of her house right now. And it's really cool to watch the transformation, how new siding or new roofing, particularly the Owens Corning new color called Bourbon. It is such a beautiful mix. It kind of looks like ocean and earth together with blues and browns and like chocolates and caramels. It's really beautiful. Changing the exterior of your house is a big time project. You need to have the right people in your corner who know what they're doing, who charge a good price, who stand up to the work that they do, and have great people who do it. And that is Ireland Contracting. Gary and Diane Ireland have been in business for 30 years, so they know what they're doing. And if it's not done right, oh, it will be. Trust me. Gary's a stickler. 800 New Roof. Call 1-800-NEW-ROOF. Go to IrelandContracting.com. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Angie's List, Guild Quality, and the Wendy Bell Radio program. Ireland Contracting. Get in touch with them.
You know how I know I'm around you too much and work too much? So I'm sitting there yesterday and two guys are drinking bourbon. And the first thing is I saw the bourbon come, like, I've thought of roofing.
Yeah. You're
I'm
like, that kind of looks
gosh.
like Ireland Contracting's new roofing color. Bourbon. It really is beautiful. I don't know. The older you get, I think you kind of get goofier about your home and about little things that you can do to tweak it.
Windows, you watch those shows.
Life-changing.
You watch those shows that re-up just windows.
Yes,
and you're like,
you're like, holy moly.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that's such a difference.
All right, here we go.
Well, the holidays are gearing up at the Battlegrounds and at Show Me Your Hobbies. Their hobby shop is loaded with all the latest RC cars, trucks, boats, crawlers, and more. Grab one for yourself, maybe a gift card for that RC or airsoft enthusiast in your life. And if you want even more excitement, the Battlegrounds is ready to host your private birthday party, your corporate holiday party, or any other celebration. It'll blow your mind inside. From Nerf and airsoft to bow tag and rivals, the activities are endless at the Battlegrounds. Don't forget, holiday hours are extended to accommodate you, but you got to register on their website. Go to the battlegroundspa.com, battlegroundspa.com. Call 412-530-2192. Also, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Check it all out. Remember, don't just play the game. Be the game at the Battlegrounds. I was reading something yesterday. Apparently, the LAPD or whomever the sheriff or somebody is in Los Angeles County, I forget the official who made this ruling, basically telling the citizens of Los Angeles to ignore people who go and break into stores and steal stuff. And then literally, there's an accompanying video of two dudes with piles of jazz, open trunk, just offloading it all into their trunk. It is okay and open season to be a thief, to be any kind of miscreant you want in Los Angeles. Why on earth would we ever have rules and laws? So that brings this story kind of into focus for me. Did you guys hear about Cal Berkeley and USC? Their football game postponed because of COVID, an outbreak among the 99% vaccinated Golden Bears football program. Well, isn't that interesting? Everybody's vaccinated. You're supposed to be safe, right? This is what you're supposed to do. You care about people. It's your job, your patriotic duty. For the first time in the 2021-2022 college football season, a game's been postponed due to a COVID outbreak. Saturday, the Cal Golden Bears lost to the Arizona Wildcats after being forced to play with less than 50 scholarship players due to 24 players and 5 coaches being out because of COVID. Well, on Tuesday, the university announced the postponements of Cal's upcoming game against USC due to additional football players testing positive for COVID. Even though the university has stated that the football program is 99% vaccinated, at least 44 people have tested positive for COVID over the past week, according to Berkeley's Department of Public Health. On Monday, Cal quarterback Chase Garbers, who missed the Arizona game due to COVID protocols, posted a statement of frustration on social media regarding testing by the University Health Services. You just looked at me like
he better watch himself.
He says, we've worked too hard to have someone take this all away from us. It's wrong. We deserve answers and transparent communication. Cal linebacker Luke Biquette also weighed in regarding testing, claiming that University Health Services threatened to arrest vaccinated players who refuse to test. What? Quote, UHS told us we could be arrested for refusing to test as vaccinated individuals with no symptoms, Biquette posted to Twitter. If I understand correctly, I can go to San Francisco, steal a bunch of items at a Walgreens, and not be arrested. However, if I refuse a test at Berkeley, then what are we doing? Which brings us to this. Michigan school system closes after a large number of teachers become ill from COVID shot. Numerous schools in a Michigan township closed Monday after numerous staff members fell ill suffering negative reactions from their booster shots. As employees get fired or resign from their jobs for refusing to comply with the vaccine mandate, schools in the Saginaw School District and around the country are substantially understaffed. After numerous staff members of Saginaw County Community Schools received an experimental COVID booster shot over the weekend, they had negative reactions and were too sick to return to work, forcing the township's elementary, middle, and high schools to close Monday. These folks are playing with fire. Quote, a large number of our staff had a negative reaction to the COVID booster shot given at a voluntary clinic over the weekend. There ain't nothing voluntary about do it, get the jab, or lose your job, you clowns. Saginaw Township Community Schools announced on the homepage of its website and Facebook page Monday, there's a substitute teacher / staff shortage throughout the state, further complicating the availability to cover those absences. Well, you don't say. Something that's an experiment has side effects. The booster shot, not COVID-19, is to blame for the negative reactions, a district person told Saginaw's local ABC affiliate. The school district leaders did not provide details on the sort of side effects the teachers are grappling with. Why not? Why not? Would that dissuade other people from possibly getting it? You'll never know. You're not allowed to know because just like YouTube, we're going to scrub that from your memory bank. All right, we're going to open up the phone lines. Line is 833-WBR show. 833-WBR show. It was something that I loved that Rush Limbaugh did all the time. He called it Open Line Friday. We do ours on Thursday. We're not really sure what to call it. But if it's COVID you want to talk about, if it's football, I'll pretend I know a lot about that. If it's about schooling, if it's about Teddy Daniels, if it's about Joe Biden, you name it, you bring it, we'll talk about it. That's our commitment to you at least once a week. You get to decide where the segment goes. And that segment is next on the Wendy Bell radio program. Don't go anywhere. You excited to go golf?
Yeah, can you send a text for me?
Huh?
Asking if we're still on.
To our mutual friend?
Yeah. Yes. And I do have a Ask Wendy email.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Edward, where are you from? I hope we're still on. It's a
No, our weather has been pretty nice.
right.
You know, we've had mild temperatures, no rain.
Robin and Brian, they all seem to know that. Yeah, I'm still on.
Wow, they don't even know.
Yeah.
But they think they know. I love hearing what people want to talk about.
Nobody reached out to golf with me, so I have to take my buddy up. His offer.
Looks like one of our former radio stations is scrounging, trying to find some help on the job boards.
Oh, I think I know which one.
Huh?
I think I know which one. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to put you guys on hold because I have to say something. Oh, I can't because then you won't be able to hear me.
Do you want to step into the hallway?
Sure. Jill wants us to tell. It's really only one thing that you'll get if you're her. I would hate somebody to take something the wrong way because they don't know the backstory, and we don't have time for backstory. And a lot of it's inside baseball that's very boring.
1:45 tea time?
Yes.
You're on.
Okay. Yeah, I should be able to make it there by 1:45.
Yeah.
I should be there by 1.
Oh, you guys have left already 7 messages. You don't have to leave messages. Just keep trying to call.
Oh, yeah.
I feel badly because people leave messages and I'm like, oh,
here's full transparency. I don't even know how to get to the messages.
I get transcriptions of them.
Oh, you do?
I do. But it's like, it's impossible for me to.
Yes, Robert. Lisa says she'll golf with me. Lisa, I'm always looking for people to golf with. Wendy always says no.
Not true.
Really? Fake news.
The boys have high school placement tests coming up. Better make an alert on that one. Alert one day before.
All right, here we go.
using facts to take on the woke politicians, triggered leftists, and the corporate media.
You just got to try harder not to suck.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, you're listening to the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back, everybody, on this Veterans Day, Thursday, November 11th, 2021. Great to have you along on the Wendy Bell radio program. We enjoy the Ask Us Anything or Talk to Us About Anything segment. We do it for a half hour a week, usually on Thursdays. This is that time. Let's get out to the phones and see where we're going. We got Jamie in Missouri. Hello, Jamie. Welcome.
Hi, Wendy. I would like to honor Orville Martin. He served in World War II, my father-in-law, and then re-opted, joined the Marines, and went back and fought, I think it was the Korean War. My father, James Norman Daly, who served on the USS Essex. It was the largest atomic experiment in history. And to my son, Major Justin Paul Weiss, who served, and his family, who did without a father for over a year as he did his third deployment. He's home now. God bless our soldiers. God bless America. And now he's facing the jab. And he's Catholic. And he's had COVID. So it all marries together. I want to thank everyone who has a family member who knows my heart. Today is the anniversary of my father's death.
You have so much going on in that phone call, my love, and I've got your back 100%. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it, Jamie in Missouri. Tony's in Rankin. Hi, Tony. Welcome back, sir.
Hi, Wendy and Brock. Happy Veterans Day.
Yes, sir.
It's a great day for America in many ways. Anyway, want to honor my parents, John R. Jack Laird, and my mother, Mary Alice Laird. My dad was in the Navy during Korea. He was on a submarine for a year. My mother was in the Women's Auxiliary for a short while. We didn't find that out until after she passed. But, I appreciate everything they did for me and us as a family and serving our great nation. But I was wondering, Wendy, do you have any relatives, close relatives that were in the military or currently active in the military?
I do not. And that's, I think I have a son who's kind of sniffing around at it right now. And it's a struggle for me because I want to be able to talk to him about it. I'm kind of excited by it, but I don't want to push him in any capacity, but I would be deeply honored if any of them did. I just hope it would be under the right administration, sadly.
Sure. Which son is that, if you don't mind me asking?
It's a twin. It's one of my 13-year-olds. Yeah. So
okay, so you got a long time to ponder.
I do.
Maybe by then things will straighten themselves out a little bit for everybody's sake. You know what I mean?
I'm hoping, Tony, and I appreciate that. Thanks so much. The number, if you'd like to be a part of the program, 833 WBR show. Join us. Talk to us about what you want. I love the memories and the shout outs to those who've served. Let's get out to Edward in Brownsville. Hi, Edward. Welcome to the Wendy Bell radio program.
Hi, Wendy. I just want to take the time to give a shout out to all the veterans and thank all the veterans of this great country for serving. And especially, Wendy, I want to thank you for your voice of America and what you do, for all of us. I think everybody needs to be a little more like you, Wendy, and speak up for our country. And I just want to thank you.
Well, I wasn't expecting that, but that is absolutely beautiful. And I so appreciate you taking the time to do that. Are you a veteran yourself, sir?
No, but my brother, I want to honor my brother, Wayne. He was in Vietnam. But, unfortunately, he didn't make it back. So,
I feel
the struggles of all of us. I mean, America's gone through so much, and we have to, honor our veterans for all their struggles.
And you know what?
All their struggles.
And you know what, Edward? Not just today, but every day. I hear you and I agree with you. And your words and your compliments are so meaningful to me. Thank you very much, sir, for your kindness and in your brother's memory, of course. Let's get out to Michael, who's in Michigan. Hi, Michael. How are you?
Hey, Wendy, happy Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day to all those that have served. I served 82, 85 under Reagan, 2nd Cavalry. Guys, listening to your interview with the Senate guy there, I think the Democrats have nothing to run on. Car ads for people that are running for political positions, if they run the same kind of ad as these other ones have done, I don't think the Democrats have anything to run on except for they don't have any good things they've done to help Americans.
Failure. Yeah, you're right. And you're speaking of Pennsylvania congressional candidate Teddy Daniels, who we had on. You're right.
Yeah.
And when you hear those ads, you see them, and they inspire something in you. They spark something. You don't get that whenever you hear any of these people on the left talk, or even the rhinos talk. Where is the passion? Where's the fire? Where's the mission? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Ma'am, and this fight should have been done 20 years ago. We shouldn't be behind the 8 ball right now.
Agreed.
It should have been done 20 years ago.
You could not be more correct about that. Michael, I appreciate your voice from Michigan, sir. Thank you so very much. Karen is outside Philadelphia. Hello, my dear. Welcome to the Wendy Bell radio program.
Hi, Wendy Bell. I'm so glad that I got through. I want to say thank you to all our veterans, but I have a question for you.
Okay.
We keep hearing to listen to all the science. So if I'm in my 60s, I took the jab for my kids, and I still got COVID, and now everybody's like, well, you need to wear the mask, you need to do all this. Who's gotten it a second time? Are there people out there that are getting it after they've had the jab and had COVID? Why are we wearing these masks and trying to me, it doesn't make any sense, and I'm trying to follow the science.
Right. Well, when the science seems to always be changing, you bring up a great point. And while I'm not a virologist or a medical expert, I live with one. And I have heard him say that in very small occasions, people have said that they've gotten COVID twice. I think it is an exceedingly unusual thing, and this is certainly not common. But of course, the whole thing about wearing the mask after you've already had it, it's like, come on, there's never going to be the finish line at this rate. And so I understand your frustration. It's 100% realized, and it's real. You're right. It never seems to get any better. So I appreciate that. And I think we need to do a deeper dive into the whole reality of the second time. Can you get it? Because if even happens once, that's a precursor for them never to allow you to breathe freely again. Facts. Karen, thanks so much. We got Jennifer in Waynesburg. Hi, Jennifer. What's going on?
Hello. I just want to thank you for everything that you guys do. Happy Veterans Day to everyone. And my topic is a little bit off the wall, but it's something that I've been noticing in the grocery stores more frequently, and it just blows my mind. Simple things like, Clorox wipes that are in the hard containers, or you get a little throwaway container like you would see baby wipes in. Mm-hmm. Or squeeze tube peanut butter versus jar peanut butter, Tide Pods in the plastic bags versus the hard plastic containers. Price comparison is usually more expensive in the things that are easily to be thrown away. And if all this stuff can be packaged that way, and they're worried about straws being a big issue.
You're right.
Why can't we fall back on the manufacturers making this stuff? If you can put coffee in a plastic bag versus our hard canister plastic, why shouldn't everything be? If it's such a big concern moving forward, why can't everything be manufactured that way?
Well, of course, because what you're talking about makes sense. It's reasonable. How many things can we actually recycle, though? Here in the United States, in our area, here in the land before time in Pennsylvania, The restrictions on what you can recycle are pretty high because it's not really done here. We send our recycled goods off somewhere else. So I fail to see how that's really benefiting us. I'm not really sure how this whole push about you changing everything that you do, you paying for things that are more expensive under the guise of you're now caring about the climate matters. I really don't get it. And I agree with your phone call and the premise of it. By the way, I just did this. The consumer prices we've talked about 31%, or 31-year high. Talking about what Joe Biden has done to this economy so far in just 10 short months. It's breathtaking, isn't it? That you can do this much damage this quickly. The price of unleaded gas is up 51.3%. That is astonishing. Fuel oil, home heating oil, 59.1%. Beef already up 20.1%. Chicken up 8.8%. Eggs 11.6%. This is before the next bill comes along under the guise of Build Back Better, where we heard Congresswoman Kat Cammack yesterday from Florida talking about the provisions, the Green New Disaster provisions in there, which will absolutely cripple your ability to feed your family.
You know what I've noticed that you haven't been getting? I haven't been getting the knocks on the door, the phone calls, or even the stuff in the mail saying how we can lower your energy costs.
Interesting.
This is usually when they send them out. Hey, get your energy costs lower by...
Get your audit, your free energy audit or whatever, or switch to us, do a price comparison.
Right, or I can save you money. Don't go with them, go with us.
Right.
Does
everybody know they're about to get hosed?
I think that's what it is, saying we know we can't make prices cheaper.
No doubt.
You're screwed.
No doubt. I agree with that. That's not a bad point. Sierra Experts is a great place if you want to actually streamline your outward expression of your business, which is your website. Right? You need somebody on your team who represents your values, who has your vision in mind, what it looks like on your website, how it functions, what your potential clients get to see, how fast things change, if there are problems, what they do. Sierra Experts is a managed service provider started by a veteran right here in Pittsburgh. That means they do everything. They can set up your network, they can secure it, they can manage it, they can help you if things go sideways, disaster and recovery assistance. They do that as well. You need smart people on your team who treat your business the way you do. No matter where you live or the size of your project, call them today. Talk to Bruce. He's great. 412-379-8333. 412-379-8333. Read their testimonials at sierraexperts.com. All right, when we come back, before we get into the whole meaning of today and the 100th anniversary of something very special in this country, got a time for a few more phone calls if you want to buzz in. 833 WBR show. Happy to take a few more calls and hear your voices right after this on the Wendy Bell Radio program.
I don't know if you ever get those phone calls.
Sure.
I haven't.
Mailings.
Right, not one.
For sure.
The lady made a good point about all the things you can and can't get now. And you have to call the one guy I know that owns a store and see what he thinks. That owns a grocery store and see what they're seeing. Like, I'm curious when I walk into stores, if some stores can get it and some can't.
Can get what? What do you mean?
Whatever. Go into any store and there's stuff's missing, or you can't get something.
Right.
And I wonder if it's certain stores or everyone. I'm sorry. Hey, where are you from? Okay, hold on, please. Head of lettuce over $3.
What?
That's what Vicky said. That's why I don't eat salad.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Chris, if energy bills are going to be even higher, buy stock in energy companies. Well, Chris, they can't because their energy bills are going up and they can't afford to buy the stock. That's what I also don't understand about Biden is when he's saying, wages are up. Well, if there's inflation, doesn't matter if your
You're
wages
not
aren't
making
rising as
enough,
fast
right.
as, if your wages aren't going up 30%, how do you cover?
Look, when you get 10% because you're the big guy, and Hunter is your pimp, peddling your wares, you can get away with anything, I guess.
I'm sorry? Okay. Here we go.
All right, let's hear what Kay in Illinois wants to talk about on the Let's Do Anything kind of segment today. Hello, Kay. Welcome to the program, and thanks for holding, my dear. What's going on?
Oh, Wendy, I love your show. I just want to say happy Veterans to all of our veterans.
Hi there, this is Kelly on a recorded line from Medicare Discount.
What's happening? Isn't that weird?
That's the second time.
That's the second time. That is very peculiar.
And
We're
if
getting
someone's
it-
going to jump in, I would assume it's someone trying to sell me extended car warranty.
Kay, I'm so sorry. I don't know what the heck's going on. But we got Lisa in Connellsville. Hi, Lisa. Welcome.
Hi, Wendy. Hi, Brock.
Hi. Go ahead. What's going on?
So, coincidentally, I just had a doctor's appointment this morning. And by the way, I am a Darren Duviac patient and have lost 47 pounds.
Nice.
Aim 360.
Nice. Good for
and
you.
I have now adopted this healthy lifestyle.
Oh, good for you.
So, but and my doctor was giving me kudos. This is the first checkup I've had since going back, or since losing the weight, and giving me kudos for losing the weight and getting healthy. But when I asked them if I'm unvaccinated by choice. Unfortunately, I looked at my company to go mandate, but they haven't yet. When I asked them if I were to contract COVID, if they would treat me with ivermectin, they gave me a forcible no.
Wow.
That they would not prescribe. So I asked them how I would be treated, and they said, well, there are other methods. And I said, well, can you explain these methods? And there were other prescriptions and stuff. And I said, well, I don't understand.
Why not ivermectin? Why won't you give what we know works? Because you don't want us to be well. That's what it is. I appreciate. Yeah, Lisa, you know what? I'm so excited that you lost weight with AIM 360, but you know what? You're right. And isn't that interesting that you're not allowed to get something that we know is cheap? It's obviously available and it works. Thanks for that. Kay's back on the line. Hey, Kay, sorry we had some weird happen there. Go ahead, my dear.
Okay. Again, I am from Illinois. I want to say Happy Veterans Day to all of our veterans out there, especially to my favorite veteran who lays in peace at the Jefferson Barracks Cemetery in St. Louis, Missouri. I just watched the fake president do his thing with the wreath at the unknown tomb while I was listening to your great radio show. And I just wonder if he's thinking about those 13 families whose kids that
were killed
Yeah,
under
in
his watch.
Afghanistan. You know what? It's a great
So I
point.
just want to.
Yep, great
I
point.
just want to say, thinking of those families today, especially.
Right on. And I know Jefferson Barracks well. Been there many times. Thanks, Kay. I appreciate that reminder. Caroline is in Glenshaw. Hello, ma'am.
Hi, Wendy and Brock. How are you?
We're good. Go ahead, my dear.
I love your show. Thank you for everything you do. And I want to give a shout out to all the veterans and their families who are the real heroes
Right on.
of our country. And I just wanted to mention that I ran across an article from the Huffington Post, believe it or not, in 2014 about Anthony Fauci, about whitewashing AIDS history. And somebody named Sean Strub wrote a book. And he says, in my book, I recount how slow the federal government was in publicizing the use of Bactrim and other sulfa drugs to prevent PCP, the pneumonia that was then the leading killer of people with AIDS, in addition to its long time and well-known use to treat PCP. And it talks how Anthony Fauci is rewriting history. He's doing so to disguise his shameful role in delaying promotion of an AIDS treatment that would have prevented tens of thousands of deaths in the first years of the epidemic. And there's a couple books written about this, and it's just awful because it's exactly what's happening now.
I agree. And we won't even get into the use of testing for these therapeutics or alleged therapeutics on children, orphans who were infected with the AIDS virus. That's a whole nother ballgame. And quite frankly, I haven't allowed my head to go there because it's one thing and horrible to talk about what's been done testing on beagles or on chimps. But to see we're in a giant experiment right now. This is, as I've said before, the phase 3 clinical trial. And I hope, though I am not confident, that the longitudinal data down the road is not going to be absolutely jaw-dropping. And there are going to be a lot of people who say, you know what? Wow. I never believed in evil, but I do now. I got a story for you and some facts on this Veterans Day that I think are important, that I think we should talk about. And I've set aside the last half hour of the program to do that because our veterans, the people who serve this country, deserve our respect and love today, especially. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Wendy Bell Radio program. Hi.
I will give Anthony Fauci credit for, I don't know what pictures he has or
He's
who
got
he
naked
knows.
photos of somebody
I'm
doing.
telling you what, anyone that can get away with killing puppies,
Killing children.
yeah, the LGBTQ community was not a fan of Anthony Fauci in the 80s, 90s. Yeah, Anthony Fauci, I don't know who his pictures are on. He's got them on somebody.
You know, I'm looking at CNN's homepage. No mention of Veterans Day.
Really? Are you surprised?
You know?
But they'll run Jeffrey Toobin out there. Maybe he does only in-studio stuff now so he can control himself. What a
Can you imagine?
dirtbag.
Like,
no.
what are you thinking?
We're on a call every day, video call every day.
You would go to HR if you ever tried something. I'd be like, hi, Jason, can you be permanent?
What about me? I'd be like,
Yeah, I just, you know, you say, are you surprised? It should be surprising to me that CNN has nothing. Let's see if Fox News has anything.
And you know, the Kyle Rittenhouse thing about him crying, don't get me, how is he not supposed to have PTSD after shooting 2 people? But all these liberals that have these breakdowns because they're misgendered. I mean, I've never seen so many hypocrites.
Oh, it's truly amazing.
In one party.
So, yes, Fox News has it on the homepage.
Of course they do. Well, they employ a lot of veterans. Marcia says Fox and Friends was everything Veterans Day. They have a lot of veterans on staff. I can't believe you threatened to take me to HR.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's nothing on MSNBC about Veterans Day, but there is this headline. Trump supporters have a bizarre secret password meant to own the libs.
Oh, I don't know it.
Why ever are our ratings down?
That's the double secret probation.
Their own president was, and I can't say he's mine because I didn't.
You don't have to say he's yours. You can say the president. I
They
don't
don't
have
even
to
have
claim.
him doing the wreath. What?
You know, you might not believe. I can't remember the last lady who called, or the woman who called and said, I hope he remembers about the 13. He was checking his watch the whole time. Like, at what point am I supposed to say?
That's a great point.
At what point am I supposed to think you're sincere now, but you couldn't have been sincere when there were actually bodies coming off the plane? Now I'm supposed to think you all of a sudden care where there's the unknown soldier? You knew the 13 people who were coming off that plane, and you looked at your watch. You didn't care enough. So why now? Like, at what point am I supposed to give you the benefit of the doubt?
Or believe that anything
Right.
about you is authentic. Or...
None of it is. Yeah, I like that one. Alan says he's not the president, he's the resident.
Yes.
That's amen. Animal House is a great movie. The watch wrist thing is his dementia. At this point, I'm done making excuses for the guy. That's just, to me, that's another excuse.
Interesting, because they were asked, you heard me listen to that audio. Somebody in the press pool asked Deputy Psaki about he's supposed to get his evaluation. He hasn't had an evaluation yet. Last time was in 2019. He's going to be 79 later this month.
Obviously lied about that one. Here we go.
Welcome back, everybody. You are tuned into the Wendy Bell Radio program. This last segment specifically, purposely dedicated to our veterans, those who we still have and those service members who we have lost over so many years, so many battles, fighting for so much. And it seems like we're back in these silly trenches fighting just to save our country, not from somebody who's trying to get in here, not from boats that are coming across, the distant horizon on the sea, but from an ideology that is so dangerous. it has the potential to completely unravel every drop of blood ever shed for our liberty. You know, and I think about something so often in the American flag. There's a reason my colors are red, white, and blue. There's a reason I care about, well, black, our, logo and such. But what we have here, red, white, and blue, the flag is so meaningful. It's not a prop. It's not a stage setter. It's not like flowers at a funeral. It's the focus. It represents so much to so many of us. You know, today isn't just Veterans Day, which is a significant moment for us to all take a collective pause, to look around us. And while I don't have my immediate family members being veterans, the number of stories that I've told, the people I've been connected to who have military service or connections is dizzying. I have a profound gratitude for you. I was in the 8th grade in Southern California when I found out that our school trip was going to be to see the monuments in Washington, D.C. It's a big trip. It's a long flight. It's a lot for a child to take in. And quite frankly, 8th grade, I've got 2 8th graders right now. I'd like to think that I was mature enough to understand. I know I was, because I remember how I felt when we got there. I remember seeing the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Monument. This was before the Vietnam Memorial, of course. But when you think about the people who did so much to establish the foundation of this country, and then the people who went out to add to the pages of its legacy and the sacrifices made. I mean, So in my 8th grade class, we found out that the individual who had planned the journey had also scheduled a trip for us to go to Arlington National Cemetery, which is mesmerizing and breathtaking. There's a section of the cemetery that is family of those who served, who died. So you have more ornate headstones, things that are more like you would see in a typical cemetery, not that uniform rows of the white headstones that we commonly think of as Arlington. And while we were there, we were going to experience the Tomb of the Unknowns, the changing of the guard. And there's a wreath ceremony. And I somehow was selected with another gal to walk with the wreath on the stand, to place the wreath at the tomb. I'll never forget it. It was blisteringly hot that day for some reason. I remember sweating. And I remember the silence. There were school kids from all over there that particular day. The silence. As you stand on steps behind kind of a velvet rope cordoned off area, and you feel it. If you have no knowledge of what is going on around you, you're at the cemetery where JFK is buried, right? You're at the cemetery where so many war heroes are buried. It's hard not to be enraptured by it. But few of us, I think, really understand what really went into the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, which is now known, of course, because of DNA. So I found this, and I think on this Veterans Day, on this 100th birthday of the tomb, that we should talk about some history. And I think it's important. So 11 facts on 11/11 that I think are worthwhile that I didn't know about. And the first one is this. There were 4 unknown soldier candidates for the World War I crypt. To ensure a truly random selection, 4 unknown soldiers were exhumed from 4 different World War I American cemeteries in France. U.S. Army Sergeant Edward F. Younger, who was wounded in combat and received the Distinguished Service Medal, was chosen to select a soldier for burial at the Tomb of the Unknowns in Arlington. After the 4 identical caskets were lined up for his inspection, Younger chose the 3rd casket from the left by placing a spray of white roses on it. The chosen soldier was transported to the U.S. aboard the USS Olympia, while the other 3 were reburied at Meuse-Argonne's American Cemetery in France. Didn't know that. Number 2, 2 unknown soldiers were then selected as potential representatives of World War II. One had served in the European theater, the other served in the Pacific theater. The Navy's only active duty Medal of Honor recipient, Hospital Man First Class William R. Charette, chose one of the identical caskets to go on to Arlington. The other was given a burial at sea. Number 3, there were 4 potential representatives of the Korean War for the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. The soldiers were disinterred from the National Cemetery of the Pacific in Hawaii. This time, Army Master Sergeant Ned Lyle was the one to choose the casket. Along with the unknown soldier from World War II, the unknown Korean War soldier lay in the Capitol Rotunda from May 28th to May 30th of 1958. Number 4, the Vietnam War's unknown soldier was selected on May 17th, 1984. Medal of Honor recipient U.S. Marine Corps Sergeant Major Alan J. Kellogg Jr. selected the Vietnam War representative during a ceremony at Pearl Harbor. 5, the Vietnam veteran wasn't an unknown soldier for long. I remember this. Thanks to advances in mitochondrial DNA testing, scientists were able to identify the remains of the Vietnam War soldier. On May 14, 1998, the remains were exhumed and tested, revealing the unknown soldier to be Air Force First Lieutenant Michael Joseph Blasey. He'd been shot down near An Loc, Vietnam in 1972. After his identification, Blasey's family had moved him to Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery in St. Louis. Instead of adding another unknown soldier to the Vietnam War crypt, the crypt cover has been replaced with one bearing the inscription, "Honoring and Keeping Faith with America's Missing Servicemen, 1958 to 1975. Number 6, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier's marble sculptors are responsible for many other U.S. monuments. The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier was designed by architect Lorimer Rich and sculptor Thomas Hudson Jones, but the actual carving was done by the Picarilli brothers. Even if you don't know them, you know their work. The brothers carved the 19-foot statue of Abraham Lincoln for the Lincoln Memorial, the lions outside the New York Public Library, the main monument in Central Park, the DuPont Circle Fountain in Washington, D.C., and much more. This is where things get really interesting. Number 7, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier has been guarded 24/7 since 1937. Tomb guards come from the 3rd U.S. Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard. Serving the U.S. since 1784, the Old Guard is the oldest active infantry unit in the military. They keep watch over the memorial every minute of every day, including when the cemetery is closed and in inclement weather. Number 8, becoming a tomb guard is incredibly difficult. Members of the Old Guard must apply for the position. If chosen, the applicant goes through an intense training period in which they must pass tests on weapons, ceremonial steps, cadence, military bearing, uniform preparation, and orders. Although military members are known for their neat uniforms, it is said that the tomb guards have the highest standards of them all. A knowledge test quizzes applicants on their memorization, including punctuation, of 35 pages of the history of the tomb. Once they're selected, guards walk the mat in front of the tomb for anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours, depending on the time of year and time of day. They work in 24-hour shifts. However, when they aren't walking the mat, they're in the living quarters beneath it. That gives the sentinel Tomb guards serve for an average 18 months. Number 9, the honor of guarding the tomb of the unknown soldier is also incredibly rare. The Tomb Guard badge is the least awarded badge in the Army and the second least awarded badge in the overall military, the first being the astronaut badge. Tomb guards are held to the highest standards of behavior and can have their badge taken away for any action on or off duty that could bring disrespect to the tomb. And that is for the entire lifetime of the Tomb Guard, even well after his or her guarding duty is over. For the record, it seems that Tomb Guards are rarely female. Only 6 have ever held the post. Number 10. The steps performed in front of the tomb of the unknown soldier have specific meaning. Everything the guards do is a series of 21, which alludes to the 21-gun salute. According to tombguard.org, the sentinel does not execute an about-face. Rather, they stop on the 21st step, then turn and face the tomb for 21 seconds. Then they turn to face back down the mat, change the weapon to the outside shoulder, mentally count off 21 seconds, then step off for another 21 step down, walk down the mat. They face the tomb at each end of the 21-step walk for 21 seconds. The sentinel then repeats this over and over until the guard change ceremony begins. And number 11, guards do not wear their rank while on duty at the tomb of the unknown soldier. Every other service member wears insignia on their uniforms that denote their rank, but not the tomb guards. Since the identities and the ranks of the soldiers within the tomb are not known, the guards don't wear their insignia to avoid potentially outranking the soldiers they're watching over. If you've never been to Gettysburg, go. Take your children. Plant the seed. I think they're never too young to grasp the gravity of the sacrifice of so many men and women in this country, so that we have the great privilege to be here today to do what we do. A veteran who's close to my heart is Kelly Morgan. She and her family own Morgane's Fitness. I talk about them on this program. I really appreciate their support. I love their service to this country and what they do to help people get their bodies in shape, their minds fit. When you feel good, you are good. And that's what Morgane's Fitness is all about. 4 locations in southwestern Pennsylvania, Somerset and Cambria counties. They are dazzling people, and they have the one-on-one staff to help you get your dreams, your wildest goals met. Get in touch with them today. Morgains, Morgainz, morgainsfitness.com. Tell Kelly we sent you. She'll appreciate it. All right, when we come back on this Veterans Day, hopefully we'll wrap it up with a bow and send you on this Tuesday, the 11th day, or Thursday, the 11th day.
Don't make me come back another couple days.
Of the 11th month. Thank you very much. Happy Veterans Day. We'll be right back on the Wendy Bell radio program. That was funny. You looked like you were having a freak out.
I was having a stroke.
You were having a freak out.
I heard, and I believe it was 60 Minutes did a story on the tomb soldiers, that they're not allowed to drink.
Oh.
They're not allowed, like, girlfriends and stuff like that. Like,
the reverence that you have to be in that position.
well, to want to do that.
Have you been there?
I haven't.
You've watched
Not
them?
recently,
Have you
no.
been to see the?
No. I've been to the tomb. I didn't see that.
I got completely enraptured in this video last night. It was literally only 11 minutes long. 11. Interesting. And the way that they walk, when you watch them walk in tandem, everything is a mirror image. There's no sneeze. I wonder how they stop sneezing. What if you have to cough or sneeze? I don't know. Literally, they're like this. And aside from the Oakley sunglasses that they wear, and I think that's probably just to deflect from having to make eye contact with anybody and be distracted, and obviously the elements. It is so amazing. the discipline of the body, like you wouldn't be able to yawn right now. You're no longer eligible to be guarding the tomb of the unknown soldier.
I think we need to find a studio down there, do a show from down there. Then I could
It's amazing.
write it off as a business trip.
Absolutely amazing.
Stay for the weekend. It's been a while since I've been to DC.
We were there because the older boys were part of a leadership, whatever, and which was AKA give us your money and we'll pretend your kids are leaders. And really, I mean, it's extortionary, but we're like, okay.
JD.
I think testimonials are one of the greatest ways you can celebrate somebody whose business you appreciate. John D'Onofrio is the estate lawyer I talk about on this program, and he has a testimonial from another lawyer who was opposing counsel on a case with him. And this opposing lawyer says this, he says, I endorse John D'Onofrio. John represented a client on the other side of a case and impressed me greatly. His preparation and comprehensive defense against the claim asserted was striking. Hats off to John D'Onofrio. That's huge. If you haven't sat down with John and gone over your finances, your plan for your passing, where your money goes, make that estate plan today. Get the peace of mind you need. 412-928-2068. 412-928-2068. Attorney John D'Onofrio.
I have a question for you.
Oh, wow.
Is that written out, or did you handwrite that out?
Which one?
What you just read for the 21 about the soldiers who guard the tomb.
It's called 11 Facts About the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and I found it on a history website.
Okay, well, people were asking if you could send that and put that on the website. So
Okay.
you send that to Jason.
All right, I got that, and I appreciate it. I need to start thinking about this now that we have an app that I am able to put, so it's easily, this is one of the incentives of downloading the Wendy Bell Radio Network app. It sounds like we're just trying to be like, hey, like us, but no, what we're trying to do is say, hey, we have a really great resource for you, and it's going to beef up every single day, places where you can go to get facts that we check. Data science, actual real stuff that'll allow you to find your own answers. It was interesting too. Brock had read in one of the commercial breaks on the stream. He had read somebody wrote on the stream something about Joe Biden responding. We were talking about responding to one of the phone calls, checking his watch during the transfer of bodies after our withdrawal from Afghanistan. And the ambivalent nature of watching sort of ho-humly the caskets carrying the lifeless remains of young people who should not have died and whose deaths could have been prevented. And quite frankly, whose deaths are on his back. To check his watch. And the message it sends, which we all know is this over yet? Can we wrap this up faster? That's the President of the United States. Everything about this administration is wrong. Every decision they make is wrong. There's no appreciation for the hardworking Americans who make this country tick. For the people who make goods and services that hit the trucks and the truckers who drive those things, thousands of miles. There's no appreciation. There's demands. There's orders, there's mandates, there's rules, there's obligations and restrictions, and now threats. That's not the country I want to be a part of. And so when we hear somebody like Teddy Daniels, who served this country in the Army, got a Purple Heart, combat veteran, served in Afghanistan, was a police officer before that for 15 years. Who decides to go from law enforcement to the military? I haven't done enough, so I'm going to do more? What? obviously took gunfire, gets a Purple Heart, comes back home, has every reason to say, I've done my part. And if you listen to his words, his reason to get involved in politics isn't so he can be a Twitter god, so people will like him, so he can be a celebrity, because God forbid, politics shouldn't be about celebrity. It should be about service. That's what he's about. The fight to take back our country. If there was ever a day to think about what the flag means, and I'm going to drive past here in just about 45 minutes, I drive past a beautiful cemetery in my neighborhood. Dates back to the late 1700s. To see all of the little flags that commemorate men and women who represent the best of this country. It's breathtaking. Let's not lose sight of today. Let's let this feeling linger and be a part of us every single day. I might not have ever put on the uniform, but I feel it is my great honor and privilege, as does Brock, I know, to come here and serve in a different capacity, to fight like hell, to share with you things that we believe you ought to know about, to bring to you voices that you might want to get behind, who may resonate with you, and to illuminate, to put a spotlight on the frauds out there who aren't country first. We have a country to save, and it starts in your neighborhood, at your local level, and the ripple effect goes from there. Every single day, we have that fight. As I say every single day, and I mean it every single day, we appreciate that you've chosen to spend your precious time with us here. Thank you for your phone calls. Thank you for your support. And until tomorrow, happy Veterans Day and peace.